This week on Stubborn Grit.
What's that sound?
His wife and he are building a house together. Sweat equity. It's like a marriage workshop. Build the dream. How hard can it be? How long will it take? They don't have a clue. They're doing it themselves. Ignorance is bliss. Will they survive? Will their teenagers thrive? What's wrong with you people? Are they crazy? Maybe. Dream big. Don't quit. Stubborn Grit.
It's the day after the pour. I was out here earlier about 5:30. It's about 6:40 something now. Just to check that slab moisture and keep it nice and wet. We're doing a moist cure. It's kind of a combination of a ponding cure meets a moist cure. I've been trying to come out here every 2 to 3 hours. Except for last night, of course, it was a little cooler. It was in the 60s, thankfully. You want to stay above 50, ideally. Yeah, I mean, this was quick. I think we had it down in, I'm going to guess, an hour-ish, maybe a little later. So what I'm doing with this slab is I have a very thick vapor barrier in the bottom. It's a 15 mil. So 15 mil plastic. It's about a credit card thickness, I guess. I was going to put plastic on top of this burlap, but the plant guy said not to do that. You want the water to escape. You know, he's been doing it for 22 something years, and you might be thinking about something I'm not thinking about, because it is the cooler time of year. This is in the south, so we have some 40s coming up in the next 7 days. You want everything to be moist, top, bottom, sides. That's why I'm leaving the forms on. I defer to his experience. We dumped a big pile of concrete there. Wonderful. And with the 40-degree temperatures, I gotta figure out how wet I want to keep it, because I want to keep the concrete above 50, really, above, well, 45, the worst, as far as curing. I'm trying to keep the soak hoses around the more critical areas, mostly where these brackets are. They're close to the edge.
What's that sound?
One of the concrete trucks decided to go off-roading. Thankfully it was unloaded. Our road held up pretty good overall. This is day 3. Kind of, sort of manually wetting it down every 2 to 3 hours, focusing on the perimeter as much as we can, since I believe the perimeter obviously would dry first. We don't want this water on top to dry out. We want to keep it wet so that the concrete continues to cure. Hydration, chemical reaction. We just need to keep the concrete temperature ideally above 50. I've read different information on this. You know, above 50, below 50, the hydration slows down a lot and comes to a complete stop. Then I've read, you know, you're really not going to run into any kind of trouble until gets into the 20s as far as freezing is concerned. We do have on the 7th day we're going to have it like around 33 degrees. But that's only for a short period of time in the evening or the night time. So when you do a moist cure like this, you want to make sure it's even, which is a little bit tricky. My original plan was to completely bag the slab and then have water there at all times, so that in case it needs it, it'll suck it back in. This looks dry, but it's actually still very wet. We didn't get it very smooth. Ideally, to have it all nice and smooth, because that can cause some streaking. Let's see, these look like they might be dry, but they're not. It's very, very wet. Looks like a dry spot, but okay. Anyway, yeah, we use burlap and we're not covering the top. The trick is, though, if you start the moist cure, you got to keep it wet. You don't want it to be drying out in between. If you do, that's actually bad for the concrete, the durability of it, I guess. You know, there's different levels of expectation as to what you're going for. Time, money, quality sort of thing comes into play. You just have to decide what you want to spend. We did use a laser to set little wet pads, and that gets you in the ballpark. The problem is that it will settle, it'll move. It's kind of like Jell-O at that point. It's kind of flopping around, or a pancake batter. So it's not perfect. Yeah, then we bull floated it, and then we ran a pan float, which is, you know, you can smooth things out a little bit with that. But to get it flatter overall, you'd want to use like a 10-foot straight edge, or a highway, they call it a highway something or other. That would give you another pass of trying to get it all leveled out. A bump cutter, that's what I'm thinking about, a bump cutter. It's like a 10-foot straight edge, double check everything. Anyway, there's all these different names for it, but I'm thinking it might have been setting up pretty quick, because that early high strength stuff